I work at Home Depot as a lot associate. My job? Collect carts, help customers load heavy stuff into their cars. Simple enough. Except, I'm usually the only lot person on shift, running back and forth between customers and carts. Honestly, it's a two-person job, but it's just me. Then one day, my supervisor, let's call her Karen, told me that Kyle, our assistant manager, had a special project for me. Clean up a messy area on the side of the store. Move all the carts there. Summer heat, busy day, dozens of customers. But okay, orders are orders. So I did exactly what Kyle told me. I focused on that one task. 5 hours, cleaning and organizing, and answering a few loading calls in between. When I was done, the parking lot looked like a cart apocalypse. Carts everywhere. Karen lost it, started yelling about how the lot was a disaster. I looked her straight in the eye and said, "I was just doing what you and Kyle told me to do." Then I went on lunch, while other departments scrambled to clean it all up. After that day, Kyle never gave me another special project. Sometimes, following orders to the letter is the best kind of revenge. I stayed in the same dorm room for all 4 years of college. Over those years, I had 3 different roommates. The first didn't return after the first semester. The second-year roommates never showed up at all. My third-year roommate got recruited by the on-campus EMT team and moved into different housing, which left me with a new roommate, the subject of this petty revenge story. Let's call him M. At first, M seemed like a decent guy. He was an exchange student from the Netherlands, which I thought was pretty cool. But it didn't take long to notice we weren't very compatible. I'm pretty introverted. I kept to myself, played video games a lot, usually with headphones so I wouldn't disturb anyone, or be disturbed. M, on the other hand, was here for the college experience. He went out a lot, brought friends back late, and they frequently played loud music while they talked, usually around midnight and into the early morning. Several times I politely asked them to turn it down or go somewhere else. At first, they gave blank stares and then grudgingly complied. But the pattern repeated almost every night. What started as a minor annoyance became a constant source of frustration. Back then, I was a morning person. I'd wake at 4:30 or 5, pack for the day, and be in the gym before classes. I made an effort to be quiet, quick to shut off alarms, avoid turning on lights, and generally respectful because I understood how important sleep is. But after a month of the new semester, my patience was gone. M's parties got louder, more people came over, and I found myself telling him to be quiet nearly every night. I'd stopped being polite about it. Then came my breaking point. M had been particularly disruptive the night before. I decided the next morning he would get a taste of what that felt like. The alarm went off. I got up, but I didn't turn it off. I had a stereo hooked up as computer speakers. I queued up music and turned it loud. Loud enough that it was impossible to ignore, but not so loud that the entire dorm would complain. I switched every light on. I opened and slammed drawers and doors. I moved through the room loudly, getting ready like a marching search party, all with no concern for the person still trying to sleep. M rolled over and asked me to turn it down. I looked him straight in the eye and said nothing. I wanted him to have the gall to explain why my behavior was wrong when his had been tolerated night after night. A few seconds of awkward silence passed. Then, realizing he had no argument and no leg to stand on, he pulled the blanket over his head and endured it. I finished getting ready. I finally shut off the alarm, the music, and the lights. I closed the dorm door with a firm slam and left for my day. I never directly discussed the incident with M, but he got the message. For the next few months, he was careful. Headphones at night, coming and going quietly while I slept, and no more late-night parties in our room. It's unfortunate that some people need that kind of wake-up call, pardon the pun, to respect shared living spaces. M was an example. Be a roommate, not a nuisance. So, small lesson. Sometimes a clear, uncompromising reminder is what it takes to change someone's behavior. Don't be M. You might get a rude awakening. Back in the 2010s, I was stationed in Japan for a major military exercise. I was the unit's intelligence officer, the guy responsible for putting together the battlefield picture, enemy capabilities, possible actions, biggest threats to our operations. I spent days crafting that briefing, polished, detailed, and precise. When I presented it, my commander said it was one of the best briefings he'd ever seen. So yeah, my ego, pretty satisfied. But when we arrived in Japan, things changed fast. Another unit completely flipped the plan we'd built around. So I updated my analysis, added an addendum, a refined version of the briefing that accounted for the new reality. I passed it up the chain to the Brigade S2, a major. At the time, I was just a second lieutenant, so I kept it professional. "Sir, here's my updated brief. Please review and let me know if you have any feedback." An hour later, he comes back and says, "Here's what I came up with." Then proceeds to quote my work, word for word. He stole it, my entire analysis, and presented it as his own. Now I'm furious, not just because he took credit, but because he made me look like a fool. During the next high-level briefing, my commander suddenly hands me the headset. "Lieutenant, explain this significant activity from yesterday." The brigade commander was grilling me over an event that had zero strategic importance. I stayed calm and said, "Sir, that incident appeared to be isolated, possibly a criminal element, not enemy forces. I logged it, but it doesn't fit into current threat patterns. What does matter," and I dove into my actual analysis, walking them through enemy positions and showing where the real risks were. The room went silent because it was clear I knew exactly what I was talking about. Later, back at the barracks, the major storms in, red-faced and furious. He starts yelling, accusing me of making him look bad. A captain nearby just watched as I turned to him and said, "Sir, if you'd talked to me before your briefing, I'd have walked you through my process. But if you're going to steal someone's work, don't blame them when your boss doesn't like the results." He didn't have much to say after that. I kept doing my job, stayed professional, and didn't change a thing. As for Major Asshole, no idea what happened to him. But knowing the Army, he probably got promoted. Because in my experience, the Army never fails to reward the wrong kind of initiative. At the start of 2024, my ex cheated on me. When I confronted her, she blamed me and blocked me. That shattered me. It pushed me into a deep depression that lasted for months. Fast forward to Halloween 2024. I was out with friends at an event, dressed head to toe as a skeleton, full suit, full latex mask. I was sober enough to be cautious, but that night I'd been drinking and vindictiveness crept in. Then I saw her. My ex was there too, ironically also dressed as a skeleton, wearing a cat skull mask she could lift up. Sober me would have walked away. Drunk me thought about petty things. A thrown drink, a shove on the dance floor, the usual flash of spite. Then an idea landed. I still had one photo of her I'd forgotten to delete after the breakup, a photo she had never seen. I walked over and tapped her shoulder. No words, just mime-like gestures, silly, playful, pointing out the coincidence that we were both skeletons. She smiled, made a heart with her hands. I mirrored it. Then I motioned to dance. She didn't know it was me. We danced. At one point, she took off a beaded bracelet and slipped it over my wrist. I hugged her. Then I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. I showed her a photo, a picture of her asleep in bed, something she had never known I'd taken. Her smile vanished. Her jaw dropped. She lifted her mask to look closer. Then, suddenly, she leapt onto my back and screamed, "Hey, who the fuck are you?" I shook her off and ran. I left the event at full speed, ducked down a few blocks, and hid in an alley for a few minutes. When I realized I was in the clear, I couldn't help it. I laughed hysterically. The next day, a friend shared a story from my ex's Instagram. She posted, "If anyone knows who went to the event in a full skeleton costume, please contact me. I had a very creepy encounter last night and want this person identified." That detail, that she had no idea it was me, became part of the satisfaction I felt. A year later, I still think about it and it makes me laugh. But, a quiet note here, looking back, the moment is complicated. There's the thrill of the prank, yes, the sense of poetic revenge, and there's also the fact that hurt people and messy breakups often make us act in ways we wouldn't be proud of forever. So, I remember it as a wild, reckless night, and a lesson that even petty victories can come with tangled feelings. Back in 2018, I married my now ex-husband. He grew up wealthy, upper class, never lacking anything. I was the opposite, raised in extreme poverty, learning early that you have to work hard and have your own back. We met at his uncle's restaurant. I was a server. He came in one day to eat and asked for my number. We hit it off. Or so I thought. After the wedding, his true colors appeared. A diagnosed narcissist. The story I'm about to tell happens the first time I met his sister and her boyfriend. We picked them up from the airport. As introductions were made, his sister said, "Oh my God, she's totally Jordan's." Her boyfriend agreed. My husband laughed. Confused, I asked what that meant. My husband said it was a compliment about my style. I thanked her. I thought nothing of it. Then came the night of drinking. Games, wine, and truth or dare. His sister dared him to explain Jordan's. He laughed and said, "Jordan's is the name we give homeless people who have swag." I was stunned. They laughed hysterically. I sat there, trying not to cry. The next day, I asked my husband what their problem was. He brushed it off. "It's just a joke. Don't take it seriously." After pressing, he admitted, "I may have told them about your upbringing just to prepare them." Prepare them? For me? I spent the next few days avoiding them, keeping busy, processing the humiliation. Then came my chance for payback. My husband had bought an expensive bottle of tequila for the night before their departure. While they went hiking, I swapped it with Saza Gold. I recorded myself taking shots, sharing stories of my upbringing, the love of my family, and how fortunate I was not to have grown up like the snobbish family I married into. I went to bed before they returned. The next night, they drank the tequila, praising its quality, commenting on its elegance. Then I connected my phone to the TV. I played the video. Slowly, they realized what they were drinking. Silence filled the room. My husband woke me the next morning outraged. His sister had cried, humiliated. I said, "Yeah, sucks, doesn't it?" They laughed the next day, never spoke to me again. Even during visits to their parents in Europe, his sister refused to see us. Safe to say, I am happily divorced. My boss frequently asks about tasks I have already completed, because she has made it 100% clear that she doesn't trust me. Which is funny, because I often outpace her with tasks, and she often falls behind me. When she yells at me about it, I explain calmly, "I couldn't do this task because I was waiting on you, and you didn't respond, so I moved on. I'm so sorry." Sometimes she writes messages in all caps as if to yell at me through Teams. When I match that energy, she responds in all caps, in red font, to "Never write to me in all caps." She wants things done immediately. I am available 8 hours a day. Everything she wants is simply impossible. She sends me emails at 11 p.m. to my personal email. The next day, she asks if I got them. When I say no, she says, You did. You can forward it to your work email. Bitch, what? She often gets upset when I fix my mistakes before she sees them. Then she yells anyway. That mistake shouldn't have even happened. It's been 6 months. Even when I correct myself, she freaks out. When I apologize, I am told, "Don't be sorry, be better." I catch her mistakes too. There is no accountability from her. I literally cannot win. On top of all this, nobody knows I am mentally disabled. I'm a slow learner. Normally, I would provide paperwork and explain, but this company is too small. She's also HR. She'd just fire me. So, what advice do I have? Honestly, I'm still figuring that out.